Welcome to Fieldsports Britain. Coming up, we're on the Hampshire coast listening to the call of the wildfowler. We have news, we have views, we have Hallo Charlie, we have hunting YouTube, and of course we have more survey insights. First, foxing. I know it's been ages. Roy has dusted off his bells, his whistles and his jazz flute and is blasting his way around a deer park. This evening, Roy's been parachuted in as a troubleshooter to sort out the fox problem on this deer park in Kent. The foxes haven't been hit for more than 12 months and they're being spotted by the deer manager on a daily basis, which makes him nervous. They're also making a right old racket at night.
When they are calling and when they're so transfixed on mating, it is very, very difficult to call them in sometimes. We've got a few different calls that we're going to try and we'll see how we get on. The main objective tonight is to try and get on top of the foxes, make a bit of an impact. We'll probably have another go in a couple of weeks' time as well. After the main part of the breeding season, well, hopefully they'll be a bit more responsive to the calls. Obviously, if you've got a very high density of foxes in a deer park, when you've got all the fawns appearing, then they can, in the first few days, make a bit of an impact on them. So we definitely need to try and get on top now.
Roy is used to managing foxes among herds of deer and parks with footpaths. It pays to double and triple check what is in your crosshairs. We're using the Guide IR510 from Thomas Jacks tonight to scan and film through. We definitely know there are bodies out there, but we're interested in the red fluffy ones, and Roy needs the scope for that one. We soon find our first Charlie of the evening. Filmed through the thermal, Roy drops it where it stands.
We were concentrating on a fox that was in front of us, and the one that we'd seen a little bit earlier decided to sneak round and was just sitting watching us on the top of the bank there. So that was first one in. That was quite good, and hopefully it'll be the first of many. Massive vixen as well, really nice and plump. Lovely condition. Nice, very nice. She's definitely in her latter years anyway.
Roy is going to be using all sorts of calls tonight, mouth and electronic. With the hormones racing, he's not exactly sure what's going to make the difference.
Stop it there. There, hang on. No squeaking with that one, that was just running off. We saw that in the lamp and it started to go, and luckily before he got too high up and we still had a safe backdrop, just managed to squeeze that one off. There's a lot of foxes here, so I think this could be quite a good night. A very pretty little vixen, well, big vixen.
This fox runs to the electronic call but then turns and heads off, giving us no chance. Now, not all of Roy's setup is orthodox. He asks David to bring a sandbag to rest the rifle stock on top of the UTV, but he was short of time, so has come up with a quick solution which he's very proud of.
You're very proud of your rest, aren't you, David? I wanted you to properly fill a shooting rest.
For literally 30 seconds, it was bob on.
Bob on.
Otherwise I'd have been there for hours.
Roy thinks the ground is holding between 20 to 30 foxes, but there's one dog fox less after this shot under the branches. It runs, but Roy is confident he's killed it. To help us out, Roy gives Andy the thermal, and 30 yards over the brow of the hill, he finds our dog fox.
So that one ran on a little bit, and if we'd been doing it normally, then from what I saw in the scope and where he ran, I'd have got it completely wrong, and we probably wouldn't have been able to pick it up tonight, and we would have had to come back and have a look in the morning. But we had the thermal, and Andy just took it up there and just had a quick scan about over the bank, spotted it immediately, saw all the detail, and was able to go and retrieve it straight away. So yeah, I mean, they are just brilliant bits of kit. It's amazing what you can see with them. And when you've got the call going as well, you can just scan with this and pick up the heat signatures as they come running in as well. So yeah, they really have got fantastic potential for foxing.
In the bracken, we would have struggled to find it, but the guide has avoided Roy getting a lot of grief from the rest of the party. Roy accounts for one more before calling it a night.
Not a bad night. So 3 vixens and 1 dog fox, and they are in immaculate condition as well. Absolutely superb. So a diet of venison and rabbit obviously does them well.
So tonight, 3 very healthy bushy vixens and a bruiser dog fox have all been taken out of the breeding programme. David's got a new business idea, and Roy's reputation remains intact thanks to some thermal investigation. Thank you, Roy. Now, from the Dr. Doolittle of hunting to someone who does very little, it's David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Channel News. A Danish archer has topped the internet charts this week. Lars Andersen learned his fast-firing skills from old archery manuscripts. He is now able to fire 3 arrows in 0.6 seconds and can split arrows being fired directly at him. But can he put a fruit pastel in his mouth without chewing it? It's been a remarkable year for working gun dog trainer Stuart North from Leicestershire in the UK. He's become the only gun dog handler in the country to win both Retriever and Spaniel Kennel Club field trials during the 2014-2015 shooting season. Staying with gun dogs, and there's a new training product out from autoretrieve.com. Called Auto Ball, it's designed to train your dog to hold an area. It holds 5 balls, which it drops at the push of a button. American wildlife officials are trying to draw up legislation to stop chocolate being used as bait. Hunters tempt bears out of the woods with sweets during the autumn hunting season, which bears find irresistible as they prepare for hibernation. However, 4 bears in the state of New Hampshire have been found dead after overdosing on candy. Thanks to our Dutch correspondent Eric van der Horst for spotting that one. Another court case brought by Tony Blair's hunting ban has been thrown out. The case against Loonsdale Hunt was thrown out on the first day of trial after hunt saboteurs produced a video that didn't work, provided evidence that included a photograph of a different pack and huntsman, and at one point claimed a rock rolling down a hill was a fox. So, what would you miss in order to go on a good hunting or shooting trip? Well, our survey is showing up some stark differences between the nations. Most Americans, Germans and Brits would miss a doctor's appointment, but would still go to a family wedding. 3/4 of the French who responded to the survey would miss both the family wedding and their partner's birthday if the right invitation came along. The survey is now available in English, French, Spanish and German. Links are on the screen. Prizes to be won for taking part. It closes on the 31st of January 2015. Please ask your hunting friends of any nationality to take part. It's turning into the biggest survey of hunting and shooting ever undertaken. The British Shooting Show is just a few weeks away, and in the run-up, there's always some good industry news. For starters, Yorkshire-based Viking Arms has taken on the agency for rifle scope manufacturer Meopta. The show is on from the 13th to the 15th of February at Stoneleigh Park in Warwickshire. Visit shootingshow.co.uk. And finally, the widow of the soldier whose life is depicted in the new movie American Sniper has been on an antelope hunt in memory of her husband. Taya Kyle, the widow of American Sniper subject Chris Kyle, went out after pronghorn with US rifle company Weatherby. American Sniper, which opened in cinemas this month, is directed by Clint Eastwood and stars Bradley Cooper. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Channel News. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Now, over to you lot. What have you been up to in the last week? It is Hallo Charlie.
Hello Charlie, I went out shooting with my daddy today and this is what we got.
Hello Charlie, it's a lovely crisp white winter's morning here in Northern Ireland just after Christmas, and as you can see I've been up early this morning and shot a few birds coming down to feed in the crop silage and the silage clam. Well, enjoying the show so far, so keep her lit, hey.
Hi, my name's Ozzy Harris. I've just been shooting at Pitt's Farm with Peter Wilson, which I won through eGamebook. I had an amazing day and it's been so nice to meet him.
Hello Charlie, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. How do you stop a Cape Buffalo from charging with the bow and arrow? Shoot him in the off switch.
That's it. Please send me your Hallo Charlies via Facebook, YouTube, Dropbox or email charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Thank you for those. Right, do you want to learn how to shoot more wildfowl? Well, first you have to learn how to call them. We often talk about fieldcraft, however wildfowlers dance to a different tune. There's mudcraft, tidecraft, try not to get hypothermia craft, and then there's the relatively new technique of crafty calling craft, which experienced shots Nick Horton and Matt know a lot about.
You miss the flight line, they're 400 yards out, you're done, the birds are gone. But at least with these, they give you a fighting chance. I can't say it's like a golden bullet for ducks, that would be wrong, but what it does do is it increases the opportunities, and I think that's no bad thing. And for the sake of taking the time to learn how to blow them properly, well worth the effort.
The guys know how to talk duck and goose. They flirt with them, toy with them, and imitate them to such a level of authenticity that the birds come in for a closer look.
If something turns the birds and you're trying to get the birds to come back to you from a distance, then you use a comeback call, which would be like this. It's that sort of pleading comeback note.
We're enjoying a cold, still morning off the southeast Hampshire coast with permission from Langstone and District Wildfowlers. Nick has been wildfowling here since he was a boy. He's seen the place evolve and change over the last 45 years.
Some areas which previously you couldn't walk on have become hard sand, and previously areas that were easy to walk on because even if they weren't sand, they were impacted clay and quite firm, have now become areas of such sloppy mud that you'd certainly need mud patterns to try and cross them. As I say, constant change. Nothing ever stands still in nature.
Once a wilderness, this area now has the backing track of tyre rumble. But you can still hear the birds, and that's when the road seems to disappear, and all eyes and ears are tuned into what's in the sky. Then the calling begins.
As you can see on a day like today, absolutely flat calm, no incentive for the birds to move at all, and for the bigger birds like the geese, actually flying in still weather like this requires the use of a lot of energy, and a lot of the time they'll simply take the decision to stay where they are.
Anyone can learn to call, but it needs practice, guidance and tuition, which Nick offers people. And of course you need a good call. You don't want to sound like the Stephen Hawking of geese, you want to be the Richard Burton of geese.
The joys and the difference between mine and a lot of others is the wood barrel is a brilliant thing. It gives you really natural, really positive tones that you don't necessarily always get with acrylics and with plastics and with polyester resins. But that combined with the polycarbonate insert, I mean, this effectively gives you the best of both worlds. You've got a reed assembly here that can be 100% clean in water. I mean, you can take it out, soapy water, warm water, whatever you need to do, pull it apart, the whole thing can be soaked. Once it's cleaned, stick it straight back in and you're away. So you've kind of got the positives there with modern materials, yet on the backhand you've got the mellow natural tones with wood.
Matt started making calls as a hobby, but it's grown into a business, and his wildfowling experience means he can apply his salty sea dog knowledge using materials like marine grade stainless.
Salt doesn't affect it at all. It's really, really, really good for coastal situations. Doesn't dull, doesn't tarnish, stays the same. Brilliant.
Matt uses tropical hardwoods, skill and loads of coats of a magic ingredient that means they stay looking and sounding polished.
So all my customers, don't look after them, bear in mind, clean them, don't run them over your Land Rover or tie them to the dog and send them off for a retrieve. A bit of common sense, care for them, look after them, a bit of wax every now and again. But other than that, I mean, proof's in the pudding. Brand new call that's probably 2 years old, and there's really no difference, in all honesty. Not really. Back
out on the mud, no wind and some educated geese means only one shot taken on a mallard. The guys are confident it was a miss, however they work the dogs just in case. As the sun has risen, so have the Brent geese. They are protected and here in vast numbers. As we head back, there are black geese everywhere, plus a few Canadas.
And they're now just taunting us, Nick.
Oh, indeed they are, yes.
As we mentioned earlier, Nick teaches people to call. It's not a 5-minute job, but with a bit of effort, it's a skill for life.
It is essentially a simple musical instrument, and you need to get your head around some of the basic techniques, Once you understand those, it's a series of building blocks. As time progresses, you will notice yourself that you get rapidly better and more accomplished. The muscle memory that you develop makes it subsequently easier, so that for every 10 or 15 minutes that you spend playing with your duck call when you're driving to work or whatever, there was a logarithmic progression in the level of improvement that you will experience.
Nick suggests David gives it a blow. Our reluctant volunteer agrees, but it helps if you hold it the right way round.
That way it'll be a little bit easier. And if you go don't want to see any movement from your cheeks. If you have your tongue moving around inside your mouth randomly, now let's see if we can put that all together, and let's put a breath through the call. Just close your hand a fraction. That's it. Down.
With so much innuendo flying around, we'll leave it there. To get in touch with the guys about either the MPK custom calls or for calling tuition, drop Matt and Nick a line. Email mpkcustomcalls@gmail.com or visit mpkcustomcallsandwoodwork.com. The art of calling there, and if you want to see more of our wildfowling films, click on the link that's appeared up there behind me. Now, from the barren mudflats of the coast to the lush pastures of YouTube, it is Hunting YouTube. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting and shooting videos that YouTube has to offer. Viewer Gordon H sends in wing shooting 2 on a windy day. Deep down, it's an instructional film with slow-mo birds showing how he maintains lead in a manner Clay champ John Bidwell would applaud. For a flavour of Irish pheasant shooting, here is an advert for Curragh Lodge Pheasant Shoot in County Fermanagh. It may be an ad, but it's a lovely day's game shooting. Yorkshire Roe Stalking brings down his first doe of 2015. The doe cull is underway in Britain until the 31st of March. Also deer hunting is KYA Field, but in the style of the late 1700s. Primitive hunting in Kentucky has Tim Farmer, host of Kentucky Afield TV, stepping back in time to see what deer stalking was like at that time. Back across the Atlantic to Sweden, where Canal Yak is stalking wild boar in among the cereal crops and getting good and close. I featured 260 rips recently, but daytime fox calling is usually worth a mention. It is a frosty morning and the vixen does not escape the field. Here's a promo film for Australian fox call company Best Fox Call. They are calling and shooting a fox with the company's Best Fox Call original. And finally, worthy but important, the value of shooting the facts. It is a quick fire round of facts about the value of shooting to the UK, put together by UK shooting's biggest membership organisation, BASC. That's it for this week. If you have a YouTube film you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, send it in via YouTube or email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. If you didn't like those, how about Airheads, our air gunning show, where I am on the hunt for a trophy squirrel. Roy is using the Pulsar DFA 75 on his rats, and James is setting up a woodland bait station. Phil is on the oche with Crow, and we have news of new kit from the ShotShow 2015. Or there's Schools Challenge TV, which this week is devoted to the launch of the Land Rover Discovery Sport, which took place at the Oxford Gum Company. Click on the link on the screen to watch it. Well, we are back next week. Please subscribe or go to our webpage, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter, or join our constant contact list, and we'll email you every week about our programme, Fieldsports Britain. It's out 7 p.m. UK time every Wednesday. This has been Fieldsports Britain. Good hunting, good shooting, good fishing, and goodbye.